Hey, so welcome to the Great Commission Project. This is our series on counseling topics. So, as you are going about making disciples, inevitably you're going to encounter people that are struggling with various issues, and we want you to have some resources available so that you can learn about various counseling topics, to understand some of the sources of common problems, but then also understand what are some potential solutions, some practices, and very importantly, what does God say about that particular issue? Today, what we're talking about is kind of the approach, a foundational approach that we have towards counseling topics, counseling issues. And so by that, I mean design. God has designed us, we're created in his image, and he has a design for us physically. He has a design for us emotionally, a design for us relationally, even vocationally, right? And we have to look at ourselves and look at any human being we're interacting with in accordance with God's design. And there are a physical being, they're a spiritual being, they have an emotional design, a relational design. And so we don't want to fall into a ditch of just assuming or jumping to a conclusion that the cause is primarily really any one of these things. And I would even say this, it isn't that we're going to look at each one and find out what's the cause of the trouble you're having. Yes, we're going to do that. Say, where does the cause seem? It primarily is lying, is in which one of these areas of our design. But we also have to recognize that it isn't like these are compartments of who we are. These aspects of who we are, physical, spiritual, emotional, and so on, they're all interconnected and they affect one another,
hmm
right? So we can't try to
hmm
like pry them apart, diagnose, and then treat one area. I think maybe it's a good idea to first, start with the physical, like you say you do. Hey, what's your sleep like? What's your diet like? What's your exercise like? But then we're going to continue to gather data of the other aspects of somebody's design. And then what we're going to do is say, where does it seem like the source of this problem is? And after we identify maybe a primary source, we're also going to look at the person holistically and say, how have these different aspects of somebody's design been affected by what we think the primary source is and approach it that way. At least that makes sense to me. What would you say?
Yeah, it's just a starting point, right?
Yeah.
Like a thyroid. If someone comes into my office and they're like, yeah, I take thyroid medication, but I haven't been taking it and I'm so anxious. Like, it's really interesting because thyroid issues is associated with anxiety and depression.
hmm
And and we're not saying that that's the only problem. We're saying there's something right, bam, right there. It
hmm
really has some clarity to it. So let's get working on that. Um, it's one area. If we ignore the physical area, we ignore a fairly large percentage of the potential to becoming healthy or being healthy. The thing is, with all of these areas, you have to focus on them. It's the gets focused on is what gets focused on gets done. In
hmm
this case, we might modify this, say what gets focused on becomes healthier.
hmm
Well, the problem is we can't just focus on one of these things,
hmm
right?
Right.
The gym rat who is ripped and shredded, he comes into my office too.
Well, you could just say my name, Tony. I mean, you could just say,
I'm just saying he comes into my office too. Is his biological off? Most of the time, not,
right.
because he's done good on his nutrition and he's done good on his exercise and his sleep is good and he's working towards these things. That
Right.
is the primary focus. That's actually good. It's those other areas that we're going to talk about,
Yeah.
but he spends no time on whatsoever.
Right. Very
And so
good.
just realizing that you got to work on all of them.
Yeah. Love it. Okay. Hopefully that has been helpful for our viewers. And thanks again, Anthony Witt. Okay. Bye for now. We'll see you in the next one.